Hi, and welcome back to part 2 of my sketchbook vlog, and I am so happy that you're here with me whilst I finish off this super cute sketchbook spread using these Arteza Real Watercolor Brush Pens. So in part 1, I already uploaded on my channel. I drew out the sketch and I completed Scooter Girl, so please check that out if you haven't already. And I'm super excited about really exploring the watercolour aspects of these brushes, which I only briefly touched upon in the portrait because I really wanted the vivid colours, but the colours for the scooter are so natural and pretty, and I was just really inspired to really try and see what effects I could create using the water and just create a really harmonious watercolour vibe with these pens. So we start out with some quick swatches, we play about with some colours, we pick the ones that we really like and we think go really well together. And it gives us just a bit of confidence to jump in and get going as well. So what I do to start here is I apply quite a generous amount of water to my page, and then I go in with the green, just briefly over it, just letting it get darker as I put it on the page. I'm just going to go through and do this for all of the green parts of the scooter, which I've included the reference photo here so you can see what I'm working with and the inspiration that I'm taking behind. I won't use exactly what I see on the reference picture, but just make it into my own version and let it heavily influence the colours, because I absolutely love these colours. They're so pretty, and I was really excited to try and do the flowers with the watercolours. So here's me going back in and getting the darker shaded parts. It doesn't take that much time at all for these to dry, but they are still a tiny bit wet, which does really work. Creates a nice harmonious feel. So we just repeat this process for the beige parts of the scooter, and then we'll go over it again when the water's a wee bit drier and the pen isn't as diluted, and that'll again create sort of a bit more tone and shadows throughout the whole thing. We're just really trying to as well here see what I can achieve with these pens, since I'm still quite new to using them, so we're just going in and seeing what we can do. And also seeing what I can create and the different colour variations I can get, because there's quite a lot of really nice shadows and highlights in this reference picture, but not too overwhelming. They're quite, again to use the word that I've used several times, harmonious. So I do also like to dilute the brush here before going in for the grey, as I don't want it to be too overpowering in places in particular. I want the soft, delicate shadows and dark metal, but not too dark. Like, I didn't want to go in with black. I wanted it to be soft. I think soft is the right word for what I wanted from this painting, and why I chose watercolor brush pens. The flower basket was an absolute joy to experiment with, and like I said earlier, it was one of the main reasons I actually picked this photo to work with. and it really takes away how intimidating it can be to just paint and colour something like this, knowing I've watered the area and that I'm just going to dot in 2 or 3 different colours, like the greens, the colours of the flowers, and just know that it'll all sort of blend quite cohesively, and it'll basically, you can't really mess it up. Definitely quite beginner friendly, even though it doesn't seem that way to look at it, but you just take away how intimidating it is by putting your water down, dabbing in some colours, and then at the end we'll go over it with an ink pen, and yeah, it'll somehow surprisingly all come together. So I definitely overwork some areas, but it actually all works out pretty well. This paper isn't specifically watercolour paper, but it really holds up well with the amount of water that I'm using and these brush pens. It's the Royal Art Talent Sketchbook, and the page isn't white, like pure white, it's quite cream as well. And now for the inking stage, yay! I absolutely love this part of the process. As I said before, it truly brings it all together for me, and I love just letting my hand loose and just going for it. I would also really love to know in the comments if you've used watercolour brush pens, how you find using them, and what your favourite thing about using them is. For me, my favourite thing about using them so far has just been that I'm very intimidated jumping in and using actual watercolours, but for some reason these pens seem to take a little bit of that away from me. They seem just a bit more beginner friendly than actual watercolours, which might not actually be the case, but like for me, tricking my brain into thinking, you know, it's easier for me and like just a bit more versatile. Well, I don't think they're more versatile than watercolours, but as a beginner jumping in, they definitely feel like I can just go in and create something like this without having used them before. And yeah, this is, like I said, this first time creating Scooter Girl, and her scooter is the first time that I'm using these, and I absolutely loved it. And I have since created another 3 sketchbook spreads using these pens, so I will be uploading them, so if you want to subscribe and check them out. I've also started using Ohuhu alcohol markers and created some really cute spreads with them, which I'm super excited about, and I will also be uploading to my channel, so yeah, check them out, or subscribe should I say, to check them out once I get around to uploading them. And I just feel like I'm getting better each time, which is the point, isn't it? We try using these things and we get better and we feel more confident with testing our capabilities, and we put ourselves out there, and that's how we grow. Both testing the capabilities that these art supplies have, as well as my own art capabilities. So here I am, quite nervous about, you know, just going ahead and ruining the whole spread. Classic, wouldn't it? After you finished, but I just couldn't leave it alone. I really, really wanted to connect the scooter girl to her scooter, and a chain of flowers and leaves just felt like really what I wanted to do. I do love drawing these chains of flowers in my sketchbook. So I never penciled in or planned out these at all before sketching them on. I just jumped straight in, and I do start off a wee bit stiff and unsure. These ones are not my favourite, but it definitely fades away, and the more I keep going, which is actually very true and philosophical, you know, you do get yourself warmed up, and the more you try, the more you do, the looser you feel and the more confident it becomes. We're just warming up our hands, warming up our confidence, and warming up the creative muscles, eh? Just takes time, and we have to let it happen by not giving up. So the colours in the spread just make me so unbelievably happy, and I think finding reference pictures like that pull it in, that pull you in and give you something to be excited about, it transfers to the page, and it helps you have fun whilst creating. So I think here's the point where I am actually starting to really feel comfortable and loose with the watercolor brush pen, and I'm just drawing my lines and drawing the leaves, and I feel like they really start to flow, and I think you can really tell that this is where I'm like, okay, I've gone in with this, I've made this decision. I maybe don't like some of the leaves right at the start, but here I am and starting to really find the flow, the elusive creative flow. So I could have really left it probably with without the flowers, without the leaves, but I think I do see the blank pages and like the parts of the page that need filled, and I have this compulsion to just go in there and fill it and tie it together. And again, I could have left it just here with the leaves, but it needs something. If you look at it and you think it needs something to break it up, it needs the yellows, the pinks, the reds to tie in to what's already on the page, so that the colours all flow together. And yes, again, use the word harmonious, and just tie it all in and finish it off nicely. I do feel like I'm only just getting started on my art journey, exploring all the traditional techniques and supplies, and just finding myself in a sketchbook, what I enjoy doing, and just having fun with art and learning. So thank you so much for watching, and if you decide to follow me on this journey, I'm very grateful and super excited to see where we go from here. So thank you again, and I will see you next time.